Hey guys, good afternoon. Sorry, my book is a little late today. Had a couple meetings this morning, but I did want to read you guys a book on here again. We're going to read How I Met My Monster. This is written by Amanda Knoll, illustrated by Howard McWilliam, and the publisher is Flashlight Press, and it was published in November 1st, 2019. Maggie has been sleeping all morning. I don't know if you can see her. My husband took her on a long walk today and she played with the frisbee, so I don't think she's going to be doing any tricks. But before I read the book, I want to go over a couple of vocabulary words. Now, I planned on showing you this board, but I didn't realize that it would turn everything backwards. So I will fix that for next time. But the words we're going to look for in the book today, we have the word mesmerized. You might have heard the word mesmerized before. Like if you're looking at something like on the TV, you might be mesmerized by, I know Maggie is mesmerized by a treat because that means she just stares at it and she just looks at it. Mesmerized means to hold the attention of someone. So if I have a treat for Maggie and she's mesmerized by it, it holds her attention. That means she's looking at it. Another word we're going to look for in the book today is unconventional. When I see the word unconventional, I know that that little chunk un at the beginning means not. If something is not conventional, that means it's not normal. So if something's unconventional, like if I saw Maggie riding a bike, that would be unconventional because that's something she wouldn't normally do. Another word we're going to look for is, I have to try to pronounce this, ominous. Ominous. Now, that means giving the impression that something bad or unpleasant is going to happen. Sometimes when you watch a scary movie or something and you hear this music, someone might describe it as ominous music. That means that it might be a scary sound. You might think something scary or bad is going to happen. So we're going to look for those words and I'll point them out when we find them in our book. But this one's How I Met My Monster. We read the other two in this series, but this is going to show you how Gabe found his monster. Now, I might move my face at the bottom of the screen around so you can see the pages, okay? So need your patience because I'm working on this too, okay? All right. One night when I reached under the bed for my truck, I found this note instead. Monsters meet here for final test. Ha! My parents were obviously trying to trick me into staying in bed. I didn't believe in monsters. So I crumpled the paper, grabbed my truck, and zipped over to my garage. I heard some creaking and rumbling, but I wasn't scared. Our house always made noises at night. But then a voice under the bed scolded. Stop that stomach rumbling! The child will hear you! Voices? Stomach rumbling? If this was part of my parents' trick, it was pretty cool. I peered into the inky blackness. 5 pairs of eyes blinked back. See, now he knows we're here, the voice sighed. One of you has broken monster rule number 1. Maintain the element of surprise. This is no trick, I thought. There are monsters under my bed. Now, are there really monsters under your bed? This is a fiction story, so we know this isn't real. A long-necked yellow monster slid out, followed by 4 little monsters. Rule number 1, the yellow one instructed. Never block the bed. All of you, scoot over. Hey, I realized, that one must be their teacher. I sat up straight, mesmerized by the monster parade shuffling across my bedroom. There's that word, mesmerized. We said mesmerized was holding the attention of someone. So look at his face. He looks mesmerized. He looks like those monsters are holding his attention. That's better, the teacher monster said. Access to the bed is clear. Now, who knows rule number 3? The purple monster teetered on his tiptoes and gurgled, Get the child into bed. That's correct, Genghis. And how would you do that? Well, Mr. Z, I would roar my scariest roar. All right, give it a go. Genghis took a deep breath, opened his mouths plural because he has more than one mouth, and let out a tiny blur. Stomach rumbling would have a better chance of getting me into bed than that funny little noise, I laughed. The child is right, said Mr. Z, shaking his head. That was not sufficiently scary, Genghis. I'm sorry. You're not the best monster for this child. There was some creaking as Genghis slunk beneath the bed. Oh, so he's not his monster. Before I could investigate where Genghis had gone, Mr. Z asked, Now, who wants to try to get the child into bed? The orange monster looked at the ceiling, and the red monster looked at the floor. Only the green one looked at me. First, he stared at my toes and started drooling. Then he took a step toward me, and I heard that rumbling noise again. I sprang into bed so he couldn't get my feet. Mr. Z blinked. Very unconventional, Gabe. Your stomach gurgles seem to be what this child needs. What I needed was to make sure this little Gabe monster... Oops. Go back. Didn't eat my toes. Now there was that word, unconventional, where he said, Mr. Z blinked. Very unconventional, Gabe. Your stomach gurgles seems to be what this child means. That means unusual, very unusual. Right, you three. The child is now in bed, said Mr. Z. As every monster knows, the ultimate objective is rule number 4. Who can tell me what that is? The orange monster bounced and squeaked, Keep the child in bed until it falls asleep. Correct, Morgan. And how would you accomplish this? Shadow puppet, she squeaked again. Gabe whistled through his nose and I snickered, but Mr. Z said, Interesting idea, try it. Morgan hopped onto my night table and flailed her arms near my lamp. Silly shadows blobbed onto the wall, and a cloud of fluffy fur tickled my nose. Morgan, stop at once, Mr. Z ordered. You're supposed to scare him, not make him sneeze. I'm sorry, but you're not a match either. Morgan's arms flopped to her sides, and she scuttled under my bed. There was some more creaking, and Morgan was gone. There's made him sneeze at you. After all that sneezing, I really needed a tissue. Suddenly, a huge shadow of uncut claws loomed across my room. Awesome, I thought, and kind of scary. I froze in place. Powerful performance, Gabe, said Mr. Z, but do either of you see a problem? Oh, I know, chirped the red monster. That child is out of bed again. Correct, Abigail, Mr. Z continued. And one of you must get him back in. Let's revisit rule number 1. Maintain the element of surprise. All at once, poof, the monsters vanished. That means they went away. Then I heard more rumbling. Were they hiding in my closet and making noises to scare me? Ha! No, it was only my stomach grumbling. All this excitement was making me hungry. I tiptoed past the closet and peeked out the door. So far, so good. No monsters. Then I stepped over the squeaky stair and sneaked down to the kitchen. As I reached into the pantry, I heard some chattering behind me. I sure hope it wasn't that toe-loving Gabe. I yanked open the fridge. Ha! It wasn't Gabe, it was just the real monster shivering on the shelf. Found you, I laughed. Nice try, Abigail, said Mr. Z. But this isn't working. You're not the right monster for this child. But Mr. Z, she whined, it's not my fault. He's not scared of me. I'm sorry, Abigail. Let's go. Abigail clomped behind Mr. Z. When I heard the creaking, I knew she was gone. I grabbed some crackers and headed upstairs, wondering if Gabe was gone too. I munched all the way down the hall, then went into the bathroom to brush my teeth again. When I opened the door a minute later, Gabe was definitely not gone. He was right there. He was huge. Oops. I charged into my room and slammed the door. When I leaped into bed, I knew my toes were safe. Whew. I was surprised to hear breathing under my bed, ragged breathing and stomach rumbling. Hey, kid, Gabe growled. Good to see ya. I pulled my covers up tight. Now, if you don't mind, I'd like to start the evening with an ominous puddle of drool. There's that word, ominous. It says, giving the impression that something bad or unpleasant is going to happen. So if you look at that drool, that looks very unpleasant. I peeked over the edge of the bed. Green ooze spread soundlessly from underneath. Then the bed quivered as Gabe unfurled. That means he unrolled his spiked tail. Well, this looks quite promising, Mr. Z noted. When I heard some more creaking, I knew Mr. Z was gone. I was alone with Gabe. Gabe loomed over my bed and began sharpening his uncut claws on my bedpost. How'd you get so big? I gasped. Rule number 5, my friend, he explained. People food makes monsters grow, so thanks for the crackers. Got any toes I can munch? I scrunched my feet so Gabe couldn't get them. This was way better than playing with trucks. No toes tonight, but you can have this, I offered, tossing a stuffed monster off the bed. Gabe dove for it. His soft, comforting snorts filled the room as he snuffled the toy. I shivered. Kid, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship. No other monster can scare me like you, I giggled. Now, does Gabe seem to be really afraid of, or excuse me, does the boy seem to be scared of his monster? No, no. You can tell in his face. I can look and see he likes having a monster under his bed because it helps him go to sleep. Gabe was the monster for me. His snorts and ooze were perfect. I yawned, then shivered again. I was asleep in no time. Ooh, pretty good. See, keep going, keep going, keep going. All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed this book. I hope you learned some new words. Mesmerize, that means you are holding the attention of something or someone. Unconventional means not normal. And ominous means like if something bad or unpleasant is about to happen. All right, I'll be back with another book tomorrow. Hopefully, maybe this one will be ready to do maybe another trick for you guys. I don't know. I think she's snoring right now, so I'm going to let her go sleep. All right, bye, guys. I miss you.